ICE. Florida officials arrest over 750 in four-day operation. In recent developments, U.S. immigration enforcement has intensified through large-scale operations, controversial deportations, and tightened visa policies, reflecting a hardening stance under the current administration. From mass arrests in Florida to alarming deportations involving U.S. citizen children, the immigration landscape is increasingly fraught with legal and humanitarian concerns. If you are interested in this topic, please pay attention and watch the video through to the end to get all the information. Please hit like and subscribe, and don't forget to push the notification bell for an upcoming video. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement and law enforcement from the state of Florida have arrested 780 migrants who are in the United States illegally in a four-day operation beginning Monday, according to statistics obtained by ABC News. The operation, dubbed Operation Tidal Wave, uses ICE's 287G authority, which allows for state and local law enforcement agencies to be deputized and to arrest those in the U.S. illegally. State and local agencies allow for ICE to be in jails and on task forces, according to the agency. I think the main reason why this operation is significant is because it's the first of its kind, Todd Lyons, the acting ICE director, told. It's one that not only we've been doing what we have, but we have surged all our federal partners together along with Homeland Security investigations and enforcement and removal operations, which are all the enforcement arms of ICE. But we're also using all our 287G partners in the state of Florida. We're using state, local, and county law enforcement agencies to assist us in our operations. So this is one of the first large-scale missions we've done like this ever, he added. We brought a whole-of-government approach with cooperative jurisdictions that want to help ICE secure communities in neighborhoods and remove public safety threats from our neighborhoods. The partnerships are a force multiplier, he said. State troopers, local police officers, county sheriffs, they're our eyes and ears, he said. They encounter these criminal aliens out and about during their regular duties, and they're able to go ahead and identify those public safety threats for us. ICE and officials from Florida law enforcement, which includes the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, arrested 275 people in 4 days with final orders of removal, meaning they can be removed from the country in short order. Madison Sheehan, who serves as the ICE Deputy Director, told ABC News that the partnerships will continue. We've seen historic partnerships with the state of Texas that has been going on and being able to expand. We've seen historic partnerships in Virginia, as well as many other states that are coming to the table, even states that you wouldn't necessarily always think of as border states, she said. These 287G operations will continue across the country in partnership with state and federal law enforcement, resulting in successful enforcement operations, according to the officials. Since the beginning of the administration, there have been 428 new 287G agreements signed with state and local law enforcement agencies, representing a 371% increase, Lyons noted. Lyons said the partnerships with state and local law enforcement are making communities safer. Why ICE deported U.S. citizen children, including a 4-year-old with cancer, alongside their immigrant mother. Immigration and Customs Enforcement has recently deported several mothers and their U.S.-born children, including a 4-year-old suffering from a rare form of cancer, raising concerns over the handling of deportations and the rights of U.S. citizen children. 3 children, aged 2, 4, and 7, who are U.S. citizens, were deported along with their mothers, who were undocumented immigrants. One of the mothers, who was pregnant, was also deported with her 2-year-old daughter. The deportations occurred despite protests from legal groups who argue that ICE conducted these removals hastily and without proper legal processes. According to the American Civil Liberties Union and the National Immigration Project, the families were arrested during routine check-ins with ICE officers and deported within a matter of days. They described the treatment as an abuse of power, with no opportunity for the mothers to consult with legal counsel or communicate with their families. What we saw from ICE over the last several days is horrifying and baffling. Families have been ripped apart unnecessarily, said Gracie Willis of the National Immigration Project. One of the deported children, a 4-year-old with metastatic cancer, was sent without medical treatment, violating basic care protocols. Families have been ripped apart unnecessarily, added Willis. The National Immigration Project and other organizations express alarm over ICE's actions, calling them illegal and inhumane. In one high-profile case, a 2-year-old girl was deported to Honduras despite her father's objections. U.S. District Judge Terry Doughty has raised questions about the deportation, noting that the child's U.S. citizenship had not been adequately considered in the process. In a court order, Doughty wrote, "The government contends that this is all okay because the mother wishes that the child be deported with her. But the court doesn't know that." A hearing is scheduled for May 16th to address concerns that the U.S. government unlawfully deported a citizen child without due process. In Florida, another mother, Heidi Sanchez, was detained during a scheduled check-in at an IC office in Tampa and deported to Cuba within 2 days. Sanchez, a breastfeeding mother of a 1-year-old daughter with health issues, was not allowed to contest the deportation, according to her attorney, Claudia Canizares. "I think they're following orders that they need to remove a certain amount of people by day and they don't care," Canizares said, criticizing ICE for ignoring Sanchez's case despite her strong humanitarian claims for staying in the U.S. The deportations come amid President Donald Trump's hardline stance on immigration, which has faced intense criticism from legal experts and rights groups. Trump has defended his administration's actions, saying in a recent social media post, "We know who the criminals are, and we must get them out of the USA and fast." He also argued that due process for millions of undocumented migrants was impractical. Federal courts have clashed with the Trump administration's immigration policies, with several judges questioning whether proper legal procedures were followed in deporting U.S. citizen children. The case has further intensified debates about executive overreach and the protection of immigrant rights. U.S. immigration, nearly impossible for citizens of these countries. In 2025, obtaining a U.S. visa has become particularly difficult for citizens from several countries, with Rwanda topping the list. According to a study by Brooks Law Firm, highlighted by Irish Star, immigration policies under Donald Trump's second presidential term have tightened significantly, making visa approvals harder than ever. Key factors behind visa denials. The Brooks Law Firm study assessed visa refusal rates, passport strength, green cards issued per 100,000 citizens, and immigration-related online searches. Data was collected between January and March 2025 from official U.S. sources and passport indexes. The findings suggest that U.S. authorities now view visas strictly as a privilege, not an entitlement. A higher score indicates more severe immigration challenges for a country. The data was gathered from official U.S. government records, passport rankings, and search analytics between January and March 2025. Top 10 countries facing highest U.S. visa challenges. 1. Rwanda. Rwanda ranks as the hardest country to immigrate from, facing severe visa refusal rates due to concerns over political issues, economic hardships, and potential immigration violations. 2. Algeria. Algerian applicants often struggle due to historical visa overstays, national security concerns, and difficulties in proving strong ties to their home country. 3. Guinea. Guinea's fragile economy and weak passport power lead to high refusal rates, with U.S. officials fearing applicants may not return. 4. Burundi. Political instability and low development levels in Burundi contribute to extremely high denial rates, with worries about asylum claims. 5. Senegal. Despite good diplomatic ties, Senegalese applicants often face refusals because of unclear travel purposes and insufficient financial documentation. 6. Uzbekistan. The only non-African country on the list, Uzbekistan faces a 64.41% visa refusal rate, with economic challenges and past visa misuse weighing heavily against applicants. 7. Gambia. Past visa fraud and high rates of overstaying make Gambian applicants high risk in the eyes of U.S. immigration authorities. 8. Benin. Benin's economic struggles and previous visa violations create major hurdles for its citizens seeking entry to the U.S. 9. Uganda. Ugandan applicants often fail to demonstrate strong home ties, leading to a high number of visa denials. 10. Kenya. Kenya records the highest number of immigration-related searches, but still faces a tough approval process, with a 63.32% refusal rate. Broader visa restrictions for African countries. In 2025, African nations were once again excluded from the U.S. visa waiver program. Additionally, visas for South Sudanese citizens were revoked and future entries were banned following deportation disputes. USCIS assists with ICE investigation that dismantled a nationwide marriage fraud operation. U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services played an important part in an investigation conducted by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, the Department of State Diplomatic Security Service, and the U.S. Attorney's Office for Maryland, which led to the arrest in a nationwide marriage fraud operation. Additionally, 4 individuals were indicted for facilitating visa and marriage fraud. Through persistent and coordinated investigative work, ICE Homeland Security investigations and USCIS identified cases in which immigration benefits were sought through fraudulent marriages. They administratively arrested 10 individuals April 24th. In April 2022, HSI Maryland's Document and Benefit Fraud/El Dorado Task Force, with assistance from USCIS, began investigating individuals suspected of entering sham marriages with foreign nationals to obtain immigration benefits. After investigation and interviews with petitioners and beneficiaries, USCIS determined that marriages were arranged by Ella Zaran, Tatiana Seigel, and Alexander Katch, all residents of New York City. They were paid thousands of dollars for facilitating and coordinating sham weddings, including the preparation of false immigration forms and fake health status attestations in connection with applications for immigration benefits. Shauna Hopper of Sicklerville, New Jersey, was also included in the federal grand jury indictment. She encouraged several U.S. citizens to participate in fraudulent marriages with foreign nationals for financial gain. She received compensation to recruit women in Baltimore and other locations to enter into sham marriages. Some marriages are made in heaven. Some are just made up, said USCIS spokesperson Matthew Trugesser. Our work with ICE crushed a marriage fraud ring where U.S. citizens were paid to marry aliens. Under Secretary Noam, fraudsters are walking out in handcuffs. Buying a spouse doesn't make you a citizen. Individuals involved have had their immigration benefits revoked as part of this investigation. As immigration enforcement actions expand and visa restrictions tighten globally, concerns over due process, humanitarian treatment, and fair access to immigration benefits continue to grow. With operations like marriage fraud crackdowns and intensified deportations, the debate over the balance between national security and human rights remains sharper than ever. That is all for today in this video. What are your thoughts on this? Please let us know in the comments section below. Thanks for watching the entire video. Hopefully, the information is useful to you. See you later in the next video. Till then, take care.
ICE Florida officials arrest over 750 in 4-day operation. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, together with the Florida law enforcement, arrested 780 migrants in a 4-day sweep called Operation Artillery, leveraging ICE 287 authority, which permits local officers to act as immigration agents. Acting ICE Director Todd Lawrence described the operation as unprecedented in its scale, highlighting the collaboration between a federal, state, and local authorities to target individuals considered public safety threats. More than 275 individuals with a final removal order were detained, and ICE officials noted that partnership, especially in states like Texas and Virginia, are expanding across the nation. Since the start of the administration, 428 new 287 agreements have been signed, a 371% increase. However, ICE faces heavy criticism after deporting undocumented mothers with their US citizen children, including a 4-year-old cancer patient and 2-year-old girl sent to Honduras against her father's wishes. Legal groups condemn the deportation as a rust and lacking due process. A federal judge scheduled a hearing to investigate the deportation, particularly questioning the removal of citizens' children without a proper legal procedures. Cases like that of Hattie Sanchez, a breastfeeding mother deported to Cuba within 2 days, fuel accusations that ICE prioritizes quotas over justice. President Donald Trump defended his administration's immigration approach, insisting that rapid removals protect national security. Meanwhile, U.S. immigration has become increasingly difficult for citizens from several countries, particularly Rwanda, which faces these steepest challenges due to political concern, economic instability, and immigration violation fears. A Brooks Law Firm study highlighted a sharp tightening of policies under Trump's second term, analyzing visa refusal rates, passport strength, green card issuance, and online immigration interest from January to March 2025. Other countries expressing high refusal rates include Algeria, Guyana, Burundi, Senegal, uh, Uzbekistan, Gambia, Benin, Uganda, and Kenya, with the reasons ranging from a political instability and economic hardship to fears of asylum abuse and previous visa fraud. African nations remain excluded from the U.S. visa waiver program, and South Sudanese citizens face outright visa bans due to deportation disputes. Separately, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, in a cooperation with the ICE and other agencies, dismantled a major marriage fraud operation that had been under investigation since April 2022.